There is a lot to love about Wonder Woman 1984. The first thing being that it is the first DC comic movie that doesn't come across as actively hostile towards its hero. But if you ever wondered what this film looks like without the CGI, keep on watching to find out more. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, so be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. The movie would be better off without CGI. Even though the plot of the film amazed many viewers, we need to come clean and admit that the overstuffed computer-generated special effects somehow made this movie look like it was filmed in 1984. With the clumsy, late-night time color scheme and its slightly cartoony CGI, it makes Wonder Woman feel like a hangover version of the film God of War. But on the other hand, it was a movie that was great in both emotional reality and physical reality. And we think that the reason behind its hilarious, crummy CGI was because it over-relied on the same type of CGI that was used in Batman vs. Superman. It is a film we can see the same kind of CGI being used in the finale against Doomsday, which for many viewers was such a bore. But this doesn't mean that computer-generated effects were the reason why Wonder Woman 1984 had many sketchy scenes. Don't forget that some of the most iconic movies in the past 25 years show that using CGI the right way can lead to creating masterpieces. But once you stop using CGI effects wisely to exaggerate and accentuate physical reality, but you use it to substitute the whole background, it would lead to a disastrous result. In the very first scene of Wonder Woman, practical CGI effects were used, but it is nothing compared to how intensely CGI was used at the end of the movie. If you look closely, you can see the difference between Wonder Woman's first big action scene that takes place on the island of Themyscira and her final fight. So practically, the opening battle of the movie does everything right that the finale does wrong. Without CGI, the Amazon warriors would not have superhero powers. The opening battle starts when an American spy of World War I called Steve Trevor is being followed by the Germans. After his plane crashes, Diana rescues him, and then there's the scene later with the Amazonian warriors and Germans battling each other on the beach of the island. If you look closely, the most noticeable difference from the final battle of the movie is the lighting. This scene takes place in the middle of a bright and sunny day, where the sun noticeably reflected on the water. This scene also shows the capabilities that both sides have. For instance, the Germans had boats and guns, while the Amazon warriors had swords and horses. Of course, you might think that there's no reason why the Germans didn't win this fight, but don't forget that this female group of Amazon warriors had powerful superhuman powers that could not compare with these mortal Germans. The CGI comes at the moment the battle between the Germans and Amazonians starts. The scene follows edited arrows and bullets that fly through the air in close-up, time-dilated motion. This CGI scene was filmed to highlight the important moment of the fight. The director of the movie also tries to show the Amazon warriors in slow motion as they try to fight the Germans on the battlefield, but the way they thought was logical is a way that no human could achieve. Jenkins wanted to enhance the capability of the Amazon warriors to show their power in comparison with the Germans. So of course, CGI was also involved in this time-dilated scene. However, the part was also achieved by using wire works that would make it easier for the cast members to move in such supernatural motions. These wires were then digitally edited out in post-production. Some of this editing also relied on CGI, where editors digitally stacked images of the scene on top of each other and let the computer take the necessary wires out of the movie. The background of the scene was enhanced. Even though the part was shot on an actual beach with real sand, real seaside cliffs, and real water in the background, it was Jenkins' idea to use computer-assisted effects to put some extra details in the background to make the battle look more mystical and aesthetically pleasing. This scene was surely enjoyable and had a clear power balance dynamic. It was built around the connection that the warriors had with the physical world and their strength. This is surely a scene that we don't see every day in DC comic movies, where noble and powerful women fight against armed soldiers and wipe them out completely. CGI helped Godot fly and run on the battlefield. We can say the same thing about the mid-movie sequence, where Wonder Woman is seen in the trenches of World War 1. The scene includes many edited parts, such as the Wonder Woman's sword that was non-existent in actual filming of the movie, but was later edited in with CGI effects. There are also many scenes where we see Wonder Woman running in the first part of the scene. Interestingly enough, Gal Gadot didn't like the way she appeared on camera when she was running. In reality, during the running scene, she was actually running on a treadmill with training sneakers. Editors later edited both the treadmill and sneakers out of the scene and made Wonder Woman look as if she was running in the dirty mud of the World War I trenches. This CGI effect was awesome and fit the movie perfectly. However, the bullets that were flying all over the place weren't too convincing. Still, in comparison with the final scene of the film, this one was considered a minor masterpiece. The horrible CGI of the final fighting scene. In the final fighting scene, Wonder Woman is fighting another character with the same amount of power. This somehow limits Diane's powers out of nowhere. The movie doesn't even explain why exactly it happened. Is it because the other character has some kind of power that limits Wonder Woman's ability to fight? That we might never know, but we do know that Gal Gadot suffered a lot just to get the whole act right. Even though she always had to appear perfect on the camera, the wires that would help her in achieving this massive jump scene were painful beyond belief. This would make Gal ache in pain, but she forced herself not to show it through facial expressions during the fighting scenes. As dedicated as she was to make the film outstanding, CGI effects just washed that away. From large flying objects being thrown around to the background of the scene, almost everything you see during the third act is made completely with CGI effects. It made the scene look a little crumbly and unprofessional. But we haven't mentioned the worst CGI effect of the whole film, which was Ares' electric pulsing armor. The armor was so heavily modified inside a computer, it left the scene looking lifeless and fake. This was one of the major parts of the film that let all the fans down. The lack of interest in shooting the scenes outside the studio led the movie to look like an animation. If you think about it, this film scene in Wonder Woman is more of an animation than a live-action scene. It features almost nothing real, as it is layered on top with a thick coat of CGI. In reality, the cast is in a big studio that consists of light walls and green screens, but this clearly shows that even the big-budget action movies that feature impossible superheroes look better when there are more live-action elements than enhanced elements. If you think about the highway chase scene in the movie, called The Matrix Reloaded, it is computer-generated heavily to give its character superpowers and be able to fight on fast-moving cars. But to shoot it, the production built an entire set on Old California Naval Base highway. The set included real cars, a real background, and the crashing of real objects. Even though the movie includes a lot of digital enhancements, the producers have kind of pulled it off due to making efforts into building scenes in real locations, unlike Wonder Woman 1984, which was partly made in green screen studios. The same thing happened with the shooting of Captain America: Civil War. During the superhero face-off at the end of the second scene of the movie, the CGI effect is heavily used. But because the cast and crew spent a lot of effort creating a real-life background for the scene in Germany's Leipzig-Halle airport, and even included real explosions, the movie was able to pull it off. The only superhero movies released in 2020 that relied minimally on green screen effects were the ones most liked by viewers. This includes the Wolverine sequel, Logan. Although it did use some sort of CGI here and there, the producers mainly focused on building digital stunt doubles for the lead actors of the film. The thing with computer-generated imagery is that although it is a very powerful tool to make a visual effect as you please, it is still an image. By linking many images together, editors can build a scene and create the movie. But as you can see, this process resembles a lot with animation. That is the reason why creating a scene completely with CGI makes it look so unreal. In the end, modern movies wouldn't be possible without the help of CGI. Those exaggerating fighting scenes wouldn't even be filmed without some special effects. Fans weren't pleased when Wonder Woman was released. After the movie aired in June 2020, many fans were so disappointed to see that the only DC comic movie that featured a woman had so many problems. Many commented that the fight scenes looked fake and hard to watch because CGI made them look like bad cartoons. Viewers also started to complain about about how the actors and cast had just wasted their time and the World War I cheetah fight scene was disappointing. Gal Gadot tried her best to perform many of the scenes herself, but with the amount of CGI used, fans are finding it pretty hard not to find scenes where she looked completely ridiculous and as if she was in an animation film. So what do you think? Does the CGI make Wonder Woman 1984 look real, or does it just make it look like a really good animated film? Tell us what you think below in the comments. Thanks for watching.